Batman 143, legacy number 908. This is Chip Zdarsky writing with Giuseppe Camuncoli and Andrea Sorrentino on the art. And hey, that Sorrentino art, every time I get to one of those pages, I'm like, damn, look, this is good stuff.
And the Camuncoli art was not bad. I just wish I cared about what was going on in the story.
Oh, okay. Like I was trying to start with a positive, but you were determined to pivot us into negativity as quickly as possible. So fine. You know what, Matt? You're getting the negativity. I hate this issue. I hate what this book does by the end of this issue. I hate the entire conceit of Joker being trained to be the Joker by someone who also trained Batman because he wants to help create the opposite. And yes, I realize that by the end of the issue, the trainer dude does question, oh, maybe the Joker like saw me coming and was pretending to need help, but was actually just trying to learn things about Batman. I accept that he put that in there. I still don't care. I hate the idea of Joker getting training like Batman did to become the Joker, and the idea that you're just further tying it to so that he's a mirror image of Batman. Part of what makes the Joker so special is he is a consequence of Batman becoming Batman. And he is just this random person. He is just this force of chaos that could not have been predicted. And using it to just shoehorn in a character that you made for your miniseries and that you want to shove down our throats again. Like, Matt, when I saw the editor's note saying, check out Batman the Night for more, my eyes could have not rolled further back into my head.
We weren't a big fan of that issue either, because it was all about Bruce learning how to not feel pain. And we're like, all right, this is a little bit much as far as the training go, right? Like, so to bring this character back, who we already weren't big on, and then like you said, Joker is a consequence of Batman's actions, and it's what, you know, and Nolan's Batman Begins at the end, where Gordon and Batman are talking, and Gordon brings up escalation, and then he flips over the Joker card, right? That is the perfect use of why Joker exists, right? Is that once Batman made himself known, the bad guys were going to start getting just as flashy, you know? Yeah,
and obviously the person that is the Joker was obviously alive before that because he's an adult already. Like he obviously existed in some form, but this idea of like him, or even just the idea of like doing a year one, an origin story where it's about him going from being just turned white to actually developing who the Joker is just not something I am interested in. I don't think it's engaging. I think it takes away from anything I like about the character. So I hate it. Now, just conceptually, I hate this arc. I hate this issue.
Now, if I am going to be positive about one thing in this, is the when the one guy, which I know he has a name, but you know, the brain guy. Either. When he brings up that he feels like there's 3 different Jokers, right, in this one. And I always like that because part of the Joker and part of the chaos is Bruce never knows which version of the Joker he's getting in different stories, right? So they talk about there's the one who's like an imp with a devilish behind him, right? And that's kind of the classic Joker, the laughing Joker. But then there's the one that's like a lot more dark and sullen. And I kind of tied that to the Killing Joke version. And then there's the one that's just the pure demon, right? And I don't know if we've really seen that version of Joker, you know. So just the idea that, just like in Batman, there's Bruce, there's Batman, and then there's like Bruce at the cave with Alfred and the boys, right? I like that there's different kind of iteration depending on what's going on with Joker.
Okay, saying that he's got different aspects to his personality that come out and maybe using that to justify the whole 3 Jokers thing rather than there's physically 3 different people that are the Joker. I'm not necessarily against that. I understand what you're saying. However, the idea that he develops this because this trainer dude developed... But basically, this trainer dude has his own Zur-En-Arr. What does he call him? The Den
I don't remember,
something.
But I was like, can we not do this?
Where is it, hon? The Car MZ. Like, that's what the Car MZ. That's what he calls it. So his voice changes, his speech bubbles turn red, and it's the idea that this trainer has a different, darker personality that he lets out when he needs it, right? And I'm like, so what you're saying is that this guy literally taught Batman the idea of creating a Zur-En-Arr. The idea that Joker's multiple personalities are all just his Zur-En-Arrs I hate that because again, you're just like this Zora thing's overplayed at this point. Anyway, like I'm sick of it now.
And I was gonna tie that into Zdarsky doing like, hey, there's a thing that's good in here, and then he pushes it too far, right? Like there's a seed in there that I can get behind, but then you just remind me. I forgot about the Zernar thing, and it pissed me off because the whole idea of Batman creating Zernar, I like again in principle, but we've gotten so much of it, it's kind of lost its meaning. You know, I like the idea of Zernar being this backup personality for Bruce when things get tough, like in Batman R.I.P. You know, it's his kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like reboot, kind of like when you reboot your computer back to its main thing. That's kind of what Zernar is for Bruce. And now I just feel like, oh no, it's just militant Batman. And Zernar has now lost that kind of backup personality for me.
The problem is it's just using it again. Like it felt special the first time. It felt like a big deal.
Yeah.
But now it's just a trope in Batman to just keep going back to that well. And it just feels like it's lost any mystique or any special feeling that it ever had. And now you're saying that this other guy taught him to do it, so he's got his own Zernar with a different name. And that Joker's multiple variations are all just kind of different takes on his own Zur-En-Arr. Like, all of that, like, just frustrates me, and you're now stretching a concept that I think you've made me not like with Batman, and you're making it this thing that's not even just unique to him, that it's this, like, skill that other people have learned and taught to each other.
Again, I hated this character when we read him in the night, and this made me like him even less than I already did. You know, it's very because Batman stuff. And I just like, again, him teaching them not to feel pain. I just like, that's a bit too far. Because for me with Joker is he is so wrapped up in what he's doing, right? He's a force of nature at a certain point. And that's why he can keep coming at Batman.
I also, admittedly, again, I'm acknowledging at the end of the book, the trainer admits that he's not sure if Joker ever actually wanted his training or just wanted to use him to learn about Batman. But as I was reading it was also annoying me, this idea that he kept saying, "Oh, you're afraid of one thing, the Batman. I will take that fear out of you." And all I could think was like, no, to me, Joker was never scared of Batman. If he's excited by Batman, he loves messing with Batman.
I bring it up all the time, and that's why I love Heath Ledger's. Like, we're going back to Nolan. Is when he goes, kill you, what would I do without you? You know, it is a yin and a yang, is that Joker can't exist without Batman.
I also, you know? And on that same note, actually, one of the things that I don't like about the future stuff, you know, this whole, everyone's got a Joker zombie virus, right? Is he keeps saying Bruce, right? He keeps calling him Bruce. Now, I don't really care if he knows that he's Bruce Wayne, whatever, but I kind of feel like Joker, and it's kind of similar to Gordon in a lot of ways, actually, is I don't think Joker cares who the person is, because who he really is Batman, and that's what Joker cares about. So this idea that he keeps saying Bruce and Brucey over and over again as if he's trying to get under his skin, I don't know, it just doesn't feel...
For me, it works in a horror aspect, right? Because it's almost like this inevitable, like it feels like Batman the End, where, you know what I mean? Where finally they're on even playing ground, and he knows who he is, but it doesn't really matter. You know, she's trying to shake Bruce.
Don't get me wrong, this is not the only story that's guilty of this. But personally, if I'm writing a Joker story where he learns who Bruce Wayne is, if he learns that Batman is Bruce Wayne, my instinct would be to say that Joker would just kind of like push that aside and say, I don't care, you're Batman. Like that's how I think he would react to that, because that's who he cares about. It's the Bat
that I want, you know, that's what goes with him.
And we always talk about how that's who he really is. He really is Batman. Yeah, his name is Bruce Wayne, but, you know, it's this, when he's holding the lasso of truth in that Wonder Woman annual, and they say, who are you? He answers Batman, because that's who he really is.
Right. And it's also, it's stuff, I think, it maybe wasn't Joker, but I remember when Dick took over the mantle, one of the villains were like, that's not the same guy. He moves differently, you know? And I feel like if that's Joker, he almost loses interest when it's not Bruce, because he can tell the difference.
Joker definitely knew, but it wasn't... funny, actually, I just said there that it's kind of like Gordon. Remembering back to that run, both Gordon and Joker recognized that it wasn't the same person. Gordon obviously talks to him a lot up front, so he can tell it's a different person, and that makes, you know, reasonable amount of sense. But there's a great moment in that run where Joker turns to Dick in the Bat outfit and says, you know, you only get through this if you're as good as he was. Like, and it's this idea that he knew instantly that this wasn't the same person under the mask. And he's kind of treating him with like a different attitude because it's not him. Yeah. He probably just assumes that, hey, it's probably the first Robin that's in there because it makes the most sense that someone like that graduated to be the Batman. So,
right, like he got a promotion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like that whole concept of folie à deux, which is the shared madness, is that Bruce and Joker are going to be shared because of Bruce's hand in having him created, right, by knocking him in that vat of acid. But I don't think Bruce necessarily cares who Joker was either, right? He's just dealing with who Joker is now, you know, because I think that even if Bruce found out about all the Year One stuff, I don't think it changes how he deals with Joker. He's not going to try to relate to him on a human level because that person that was Joker, you know, before is gone, you know. So it's a madness shared by two, and I feel like Zdarsky is pushing this more into a personal level that I just don't feel like it needs.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here. Gordon gets suspended because he punches a cop who's corrupt and intentionally gets another cop who's like on the line for the crimes. It basically makes him try and escape so that he's got a justifiable reason to kill him. And Gordon sees through it. He knows that this was staged just so that this guy would be killed so he couldn't talk. Gordon punches the other corrupt cop and gets suspended for it. You know, they're trying to deal with the whole Red Hood gang thing. In the future, Batman's confronting Joker. Joker's leaving him all these clues about the Red Hood gang. I will say I did think the art and the pages of Catwoman in the future, you get grey-haired Selina, like Batman and her encounter each other. And because the virus spreads through laughter, blocking out noise actually stops it from happening. So Batman's got like fancy earplugs, and Selina's got she's figured it out as well, and she's basically just taped like cotton wool over her ears to stop the noise. So there's a good couple of pages with them, like the art of them kissing, and she's in like her old school outfit with the grey hair. It looks really good.
She's very reminiscent of Michelle Pfeiffer though too, like in her face. Like, I definitely feel like Sorrentino was going for that vibe. So I appreciate that.
I can see it. And then that also reveals that she's locked up the rest of the Bat family who are all infected. So we see Barbara Gordon with her GCPD outfit on. We see Dick, well, looks like Cassandra, Tim, and Damien in his like Batman looking attire.
Yeah, he's got the trench coat. Yeah. With the large collar.
But they're all Jokerized because they've all been infected. So, but at the tail end of this here, Catwoman, it turns out, has been infected and releases all of the Bat family into the world. So that's kind of your big cliffhanger for the future stuff. The present day stuff, or the past stuff, I should say, because it's Year One. Joker, you know, kills the trainer, basically acts out. This is where he questions if the Joker ever even needed to like get his help or if he just wanted information. It just kind of ends with Joker finally killing him and suiting up. The final narration of the trainer says that either way it doesn't matter to him because like your counterpoint exists and he's perfect. That's the final line, is the idea that to him the Joker's perfect. So you know, I don't like this idea that someone's even like, even if they're kind of stumbling into it, the idea that someone wants to orchestrate Batman versus the Joker when he's just becoming the Joker and it's their first ever encounter is because someone wants to see it happen, to see how it plays out. I hate like I don't need anything. I don't need anything to be added to this. Like, the Joker and Batman's first encounter is just because the Joker comes onto the scene to do what he's doing, and throughout the course of dealing with Batman, like, obviously that affection for, you know, fighting off Batman and like becoming enamored with him grows naturally from there. It doesn't need any connections beforehand. It doesn't need to be, you know, tied thematically in their backstories. It doesn't need any of that. And it's so frustrating when they try and force this shit in. I hate this issue. I hate this arc, right?
So you said someone was trying to form a Joker and putting him in Batman to see what happened. And all I heard was the end of the 2018 Halloween. where it's like he created an apex predator and he released him to see what would happen. And I was like, oh. And that just hit me. I didn't even think of that till right now. And it's never good. You can't pull that story off. Like, you just can't. Like, you know.
Mean, I think you can do it maybe with an original character, perhaps. Yeah. And if you really focus on the, like their relationship as like a mentor and psychopath kind of thing. But but you know what, Batman and Joker's like origins are pretty set in stone at this point, or at least specific versions of them are. You know, we don't need all this extra stuff. Like, he's adding all these extra details into how the Joker became the Joker we all know, and I'm like, I don't need any more. Like, we just did, you know, the Tom King, Mitch Gerrard story of the Joker's first, like,
his first appearance in Gotham.
Appearance in Gotham against Batman. And it was a perfect horror story that treated him with the right sense of mystery, the right sense of chaos. And then this is the opposite, where it's like, hey, we're going to do all these fancy connections. We're going to explain how he got these scars.
You know what, though? Yeah. You saying that, and I want to recede that you can't tell that story, because I would not mind seeing Art the Clown as the Apex Predator being released to see how he goes, you know? Like, I feel like that, what's his name? It's the director, Damien...
Leon.
Leon, yeah. I feel like he might be able to do it. Maybe that's where we're going with Terrifier 3, you know? I feel like but again, that's a new character. That's not a character that we are already really, you know... It's set in stone, they're kind of their origin. So, yeah, this was, oh man, that's the first thing I read this week. It almost made me want to quit.
It's just not Joker. Like, no one... created and manipulated the Joker into being the Joker. No. That's just not who he is, right?
Except for his own failings as a person, which lead him to that of acid, right?
It's the same as saying someone's behind the destruction of Krypton. Like, you've taken away a big part of what that actually meant before.
Yeah, Rogolzar.
So it's just one of these
exactly.
Like, I don't know what it is about comic writers and, like, feeling the need to go back and redefine parts of origins like this.
You know who I blame? And he's one of my favorite writers, and he could pull off this a lot, but it was Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns going back into histories and retconning certain things. Granted, he wasn't as, I wouldn't say, anything that he did in Rebirth with Flash and with Green Lantern wasn't egregious as this, right? Maybe making Zoom responsible for Barry's mom's death, you know, but that's a New 52 thing. It is up there with this, but nothing's ever this bad. But I would put that on him because Williamson's kind of a student of Johns, and he's guilty of this a lot, you know. So, but yeah, I'll put that blame on Johns as much as it pains me.
Yeah, he was generally better at it than this, though. To be fair, but it's something I could just do without. Just like, have the stories evolve going forward. We're always obsessed with going back and revealing something that happened in the past that we didn't know about until this point. And I'm not saying you can't do small moments, but like doing these big grand stories that redefine things, like
Yeah. I always like the idea with Joker too, that his origin is choose your own adventure. I like that there's different versions of it out there, and he tells a different one different times, you know. So any type that seems like it's definitive, it's automatically going to lose me. Because I don't care who the Joker was before. I care about the Joker when he shows up as is, with the white face, with the green hair, as the Clown Prince of Crime.
Yeah, it could be something that you can theorize over. It can be something that you maybe have some cool ideas about, but never anything that should feel like it's set in stone, I don't think. And not that this is really defining who he was before he fell into the vat of chemicals, but all of this stuff that he's like building up, like this is his year of training, like Bruce and he's like, you know, years going around, like training how to fight. The idea that he's even doing like a week of training with this guy to become the Joker is infuriating to me. I hate it. All right, let's stop talking about this issue. What are you giving it, Matt?
If it wasn't for the art, this would be a lot lower, but I'm gonna give this a 4. I was gonna go 0.5, but talking about it made me like it less.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with the 4. Yeah, there's good art in it, but I hate conceptually so much of what this book is. So
yeah. I also want to put out to Cami Coley's Joker towards the end does the black beady eyes that they got to with the Joker in I think it was season 4 of the animated series. So I appreciate that. It's a different kind of Joker. So it's a shame that this art's kind of being wasted on this bunk story.